Okay, this is off the top of my head, so when I do a scripted version, it will be better. This is a response to a request. I have had requests about alleged law breaking against myself involving electronic surveillance and that kind of thing. As you can see, I just woke up at 6:23 a.m. in the morning here. So here is a local movie cinema. This is called Marcus Theaters, and they have that film there, horror. What I'm commenting on here is this children's film, Zootopia. I think Hollywood was stronger several decades ago as they were more original and more in a leadership role. So something like this, when I look at it, I did a original oratory 4 minutes when I was a sophomore at Nicolay High School called My Utopia, and I've seen many dozens or hundreds of thousands of these things in recent years where they're playing off something that I did at present or in the past. When I think Hollywood loses billions and millions of dollars every year when they don't exercise their ability to show leadership. We're approaching Christmas time here, so I think when they follow someone like myself, Michael Kajowski, I do not have a record of success as an adult in recent decades. The last time I might be willing to describe myself as successful would be back in the 1980s and 1970s when I was a young adult. So when they're following something like my high school, forensics talk, 4 minutes, My Utopia, and calling it Zootopia, unfortunately, adults all across the United States and across the world know about things like that, and they have to explain that to their kids a little, that the current crop of people they have in Hollywood are not using all their abilities at the current time. Something like here, McKay. I mean, my mother's nickname was Mrs. K. Sometimes here we have the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's more the correct idea when they put Charles Dickens on there and Christmas Carol, and when they put the genuine literary classics on there, like Nathaniel Hawthorne or whatever. Here we have a sideways reference to Shakespeare. They probably want to kind of put out a genuine Shakespeare at the holiday season. So, in my short 3 minutes here, that is to get started here. I taught English in China, and so I see some of these foreign movies have made their way into the theater. This could be construed eternity there, but again, they're referring to they don't actually plagiarize or copy anything as far as I'm concerned or that I know of. The talks I gave in high school about the school system uh, in the 1970s and about politics and about My Utopia. I think they've just been playing off them. This has been going on, I think, for at least the past 5 years, if not the past 10 or 15 years. Wicked here is a sideways adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. I think they have a good idea, but again, they're lacking in confidence. They're calling they're the Wizard of Oz, at least in my generation or my era, was one of the top best-selling, most popular children's films that was played on television in the springtime every year in Milwaukee annually for many years. So when they're trying to call the Wizard of Oz, wicked, these things down at the children's age levels are less than perfect. Even the title, the Wizard of Oz on the original L. Frank Baum literary classic. I'm questioning the Wizard of Oz's title. Well, the Wizard of Oz was very strong, popular film for children many decades ago, and people liked the plot. Most of the story followed Dorothy and her three imaginary friends after she was knocked out in a tornado: the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, and the Straw Man. The wizard, while he was in the plot, and there seemed to be some plot points that hinged on the wizard, and the wizard asking them to sort of kill the Wicked Witch of the West in this children's entertainment back there. I guess similar to Hansel and Gretel when the evil witch in the forest tries to kill them. I think that's what I'm saying about the title here, Wicked, trying to put that on a musical and something connected to the Wizard of Oz. It, I wouldn't, I can't heavily criticize that, but I think having seen the first Wicked, the first musical, they wanted a little more upbeat or positive title on it. I really can't see calling the Wizard of Oz Wicked. And as I said, I had a problem with the original children's thing. Most of the Wizard of Oz was about Dorothy. It was not, but the Wizard of Oz was sort of a side character who came up later in the plot, and that's partly the theme of the story, that the wizard turns out to be a charade, and his opinions in the end don't matter. It's just Dorothy's own willpower that gets her through. And then, unfortunately, being at the children's age level, the thing is imperfect. Dorothy wakes up, and it turns out to be a dream or a nightmare. I guess that takes us back up here to Freddy up here. Um, that's playing off Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street, which, to be honest, I've been assigned to follow those people. That's like my response here to a suggestion, or I take requests. I was sort of requested or not requested to follow these Wes Craven things. Back in the late 1990s, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. So that Freddy character is probably a reference to the original Nightmare on Elm Street back from the 1990s. I don't have any complaints here, but regarding originality, I think Freddy's is okay, and it's got some monsters in it and stuff, and they apparently did some film work where they tried to bring out the color in their filming, as I believe the late Wes Craven did. Like most people who have worked as writers, I that very brutal Last House on the Left, I have to think was actually one of his best movies. But a lot of people sort of don't like something like that because it's not light entertainment. That is very serious with the brutal violence in Last House on the Left. And of course, Craven was known mostly for his popular Scream series. So here was Zootopia. I imagine the plot in there has little to do with. I didn't see that one. I could rent it on the internet. This is Zootopia 2, and so Zootopia 1 was probably out. I'm just always encouraging these people, whether they're at the children's age level or the adult age level, when they're following known successes. Like if you're in golf and you try to follow Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus or Sam Snead or whatever, I think you're more on the right track with that. When you're attempting to follow the audience or follow Fred Flintstone or local people, someone like myself who does not have a record of success, I'm, questioning that. That around here at Christmas time, if they uh, bring back some of the classics like Charles Dickens or Mark Twain, The Prince and the Pauper, Huckleberry Finn, Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Heart, something like that. With kids and adults on vacation for the holidays, the proven, like Shakespeare classics seem like a good way of entertaining the public.